Good morning, good afternoon, not quite sure what time it is. A few of these, who cares? It's Hammerfest 2019, Ward 16, in the vicinity with me.
Hello.
Oh, Steve, I'm tired, but we'll do it, let's go. Anyway, right guys, I'm a little bit apprehensive here because I've read up on you and I've been told that you guys are sort of the UK's most deadly psychopaths. Is this true?
It is, we don't look it.
But
once you start talking, so you go, yeah, and it's not actually an act. It's just stay away.
You like lure him in, make
Yeah.
him feel comfortable.
That's what I'm worried about. At least I'm nearest to the door anyway, so that's a good thing. Let's talk about last night's show. Unfortunately, we got a little bit KI'd last night and Horlicks and slippers were calling, but while you were on, but how did that go?
It was really good, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. There was a lot of energy.
It was cool.
Especially with being so late.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a little bit disappointing. A bittersweet part of it was that we found out late on, or around the time, that it was VIP, and it hadn't been publicised about it. So we'd had so many people come from all over the place to come see us, and they were texting us afterwards saying we just couldn't get in, we were getting turned away, and so it was like, we, from our perspective, we don't get, we're only a little band, and these are defining moments to us. We don't do it every day, and we're not someone that's just going on tours doing this all the time. So sometimes it feels like we've missed out a little bit. All the people we like to share ourselves.
Well, they've come to see us, haven't they?
Yeah.
We're no one without the people that have supported us and got us here. So we try to express it on stage and get them and be part of it. So when they couldn't be part of what we consider to be something that's quite monumental for us, it's quite sad,
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But
no, you're right.
on the other hand, it was good. Nothing broke, except one of the strings broke, but like the backing tracks work, which is nice.
Backing tracks live. Ooh.
Oh no, I know about.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, we just got the album on and we were just miming to it. But yeah, it was really good crowd.
And you're from Preston, is that right?
Yeah. More or less. We're based in Preston, but he talks funny because he's from the north.
Barrow Furnace.
Barrow
I work at Kimberley Clark there.
No,
Alright.
I'm in the shipyard.
Tell me about this Whittingham Asylum. What's...
It's been knocked down now, hasn't it? It was an asylum in Preston. I think I was reading reports about there was some really bad abuse that took place there. Was it
in the 60s?
In the 60s, yeah. I think it was on an old woman's ward. They were doing horrible experiments and things on the patients.
Yeah, so it was shut down. There's a big scandal about it, so it was shut down. So, and it's obviously where we go home to.
Yeah, and that was on Ward 16, which is where we took the name from. So it's not really based. It's just loosely based on that. We just took the name because we wanted to write about being an asylum from Preston, and that's where. So
do you sort of try and portray this story into your live shows?
Yeah, so it's completely interwoven. So we never, and it's become a lot more intricate and involved the more confidence we've got, really, and the stage got bigger. So we don't play the music without the stage act to add context to what we're doing. So we've got lots of blood, we've got chainsaws, we're disemboweling dummies and things like that, where you could theoretically look at it and go, oh, it's a gimmick, anyone could do that, but actually we're acting the storyline. If you listen to the album, the concept album, that's the story that we're doing. And when we're lucky enough to play the whole album live, we generally have actors on stage with us, assisting the story. Got back, we've had screens with interludes and Dream Theatre type, going into that and trying to be as interactive and kind of
different.
I was going to say, so what do you consciously do to make this stage show what it is? But I think you just answered.
Well, originally we just had daggers and blood, didn't we? And then as we started, we built on it. So we've got electric chairs on stage. We've got a big table in which you do some surgery on during one of the songs. Chainsaws. Jordan, when we do have an actor, there are narrative parts and spoken parts between the singer and the actor as well, and the actor goes out into the crowd and interacts with the people that come to see us and things. So.
Sure, I'm absolutely gutted we missed this last night. I really am.
So we tried to make it like a multimedia and multi-sensory kind of thing, so you don't just go there to watch the music, you go there and you go, that's what, you know,
it's a show.
It's a show, it's performance,
it's
like,
it's a show, yeah.
Yeah, just trying to incorporate the audience as much as possible as well.
So
make it enjoyable for them, make them feel.
And
because they'll come back.
Yeah, and also the fact what we tried to do was shift, instead of having theatrical music and theatre, it was, how do you have theatre, start with it being theatre and then add the music to it and look at it from a different angle, because you could have any band on stage and you could just bring our props on and it wouldn't mean anything. But if you look at it from a different perspective and look at it from a theatrical point of view and then add musical theatre to it, you know, theatrical music to it, it adds a little bit of a different angle to it. I think the only difficulty that we have is a lot of the sets that we play are 30 to 40 minutes and the album's like an hour and a half. So it's almost unabridged. So you're looking at a trailer when you come to see the gig. It's like a trailer of the movie. So we've been trying to think of ways to provide that, like a narrative, so that you can actually go, okay, what's happening here? So what, you know, it's like we've started to do like newspaper cuttings of what the storyline's about. So you know, if you can only just see 10, 20, 30 minutes of our whole set, you actually know that there's a concept behind it.
How well thought through is this? No, I'm really impressed. It's really, really good. A lot of bands just get up on stage and play, don't they? I've got a question for you. So when it comes to rehearsals then, how do you go about, if you've got all this sort of shit on stage and that, how do you get everyone involved in the rehearsals, or is it just something you do ad hoc when you get on stage?
Well, no, I mean, like, we rehearse the tracks, like, more, and then when, say, like, for a gig like this, we'll go, right, we'll have, so, you know, like you'd have a dress rehearsal for a play, we'll do a full run through with, you know, what interludes are going on, and we'll talk about, right, this is where, you know, this prop's coming on, and such a person's getting killed, this is where the electric chair is going to be.
It's a lot
So
easier
it's a
when
play in a way,
it
isn't
is.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to do when we've got someone on stage with us. So we couldn't have the actor that we normally have couldn't make it today or last night. So we have to find a way for us to get the props on stage and take it off without there being unnecessary gaps in the set, because we don't want to lose time. We've only got a limited amount of time, and if you have a minute between each song, then you end up missing the song out.
Yeah.
So it probably isn't as slick as we'd like it to look, and it probably looks a lot more chaotic than we'd like it to look. But you work with what you know, the conditions that you're given, and hopefully, and by the way that people feed back to us, and really, people, you know, like you have some people say, oh, we like your music or whatever. We have people that really love our music, you know, can express that to us, and we had, you know, we went to a funeral when we were on tour. We found out someone that we loved our music, and her husband said that she passed away in a car accident, and she'd been buried in one of our t-shirts. And like we were on tour at the time, so we just diverted and went to the funeral by kind of surprise, you know. We just
one of our songs playing as well.
Yeah. So like so that was just, we've had a few things like that, which is it's amazing.
You don't forget things like that.
No. And it makes it makes it so worthwhile as well.
Exactly.
And it makes you feel that there's more to what we do than just. You know, there's a bit more substance to what we do and why we do it. It makes it's a lot more responsibility to do it as well. So we don't turn up to a gig and just go through the motions either. We respect the fact that, and that's what I guess why last night was a little bit saddening, is that each time we play, we think that could be our last gig or the first time someone's ever seen us play, and they take that energy or emotion away with them. And, it's just an amazing feeling.
See, obviously, you could probably suck crowds in for the show you do, and suck crowds in through the music as well. So you're sucking them in from both angles, aren't you?
Yeah,
even if they've not heard your music, they might have heard about the show.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's just trying to get it out in the media, because Facebook is starting to be very difficult in regards to getting distribution, and
we know what website we can put it on.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So it's trying to find ways. So I spend a shed load of my time just talking, networking, and I know everyone else does. I think we don't just share on Facebook or share on this. We do a load of talking. We love doing stuff like this, because there's no point doing what we do if you're not going to promote it or talk about it and love it. Yeah, and likewise, when I do loads of networking on Facebook, and I know people, I had friends like my band, like I do that, but I always make it like something I have to do. Is if someone asks me to be their friend, or like the other way, I'll always email them or text them and say, hi, I'm David, how are you? And I'll actually look at who they are and comment on it and stuff. And then they'll start talking to me about what I do, and then there's that human interaction. I think, if you're not passionate about what you do, then you're not doing it for the right reasons, I think. And hopefully the way that we do things is going to keep pushing us through.
I really like what you're telling me. I really do. Toy Box, great track. Tell us a bit about that.
I don't know, it's probably the most unusual on the album, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good, I like it.
We did have an accordion player on board with us. By some kind of miracle, we've managed to find somebody else in the UK that actually plays the accordion, but is interested in working on the second album with us. Because that was when he left, it was like, oh my god, how are we going to find another accordion player? But yeah, what is it? I'm trying to on the spot trying to think what these songs are about. I've been singing them for so long that I just forget what they're about sometimes, so I can't do it without following the whole concept of the album.
The album's an eclectic album as well, isn't it? So you think it's one of those songs where you go, oh, that's quite unusual.
Yeah.
But then when you listen to the rest of the songs, you'll go, oh, it's not just a piece of luck. That's it. They've got punky out, ska songs, type songs, and electronica and things. And
it's not been reviewed on Planet Mosh, has it?
I think it has, yeah.
It has?
Yeah.
It may have.
I'll check that. If it hasn't, I'll do it.
Yeah. But even what I'll do though is I've got copies, and I'll go and get a copy and I'll give it to you today, because I've got it in the car.
Absolutely, yeah. Gifts. Absolutely. The gift of music.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Metal Meltdown.
yes.
How did that go, Birmingham?
That was ace.
I love that one.
Did you?
You're
Very quiet. I say today.
Somebody
I've only met you today as well.
He woke up in the sand dunes.
well, no, it was. I stayed for the full weekend, and just everything about it, just the energy, just the people. It's not one bad thing. I can always come away from something with at least one small criticism, but no, I just couldn't. It was just brilliant all round.
Do you know what? We have got something in common. I played years ago on the same bill as Acid Rain, who were in Birmingham, weren't they? But I'm so jealous that Rage and Speed only on the same bill as you as well. They're one of my favourite bands of all time, Rage and Speed.
Yeah, they won the
Love
awards
them
last
to
night.
bits. That first album was just unreal.
They did a good job of warming up the crowd for us yesterday.
There was also King Creature,
Yeah.
who were here.
There's
Master
such a
Charger.
and today's
Somebody else?
got
Winter.
yeah,
Winterstorm.
They're today, I think.
Yeah, they were there as well, weren't
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they play. Yeah, but there's such a and there's a great set today. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. We've only just really got into the HLH family kind of thing, you know. We played Breaking Bands last year, and Metal Meltdown was our first proper experience of HRH, and then obviously it's our kind of second. So it feels great to be part, because we've been always looking from the outside in, and you know, and we're such good friends with so many of the bands that are playing within the scene, that it's nice to be part of it, you know.
Yeah, well, it opens up all sorts
Well,
of possibilities, doesn't it?
Absolutely, you know, and we're not necessarily the most easy band to pigeonhole into a set, you know, set order or the most fashionable, but it's good to be something different, but also be considered part of the same group of people. It's good.
I've got one more question. What's next?
Album 2.
Yeah.
That's what we're currently working on. Writing the second concept album, which it'll go back to the first concept album was all about. It starts with like a psychotherapist interviewing Psycho Berry, which is the character I play, about her life before she was on the ward. And over this first album, it covers how she manipulates a man into killing, kind of for her twisted pleasure. Like he does, at first he's very reluctant, he doesn't want to do this, and she kind of like pretends they fall in love, and he's obviously in love with her, but she's just pretending. And then she eventually gets him, persuades him to kill on her behalf for her twisted pleasure, and then eventually it becomes too much for him to handle. And at that point she decides that's when he has to go.
So the second album is going to be a continuation, it's going to carry on from the first, is it? The story?
No, we're going to go back to the ward, and I don't want to give too much away about it for people, but you just got to look at it from the mind that, like, what's the psychotherapist going to ask her next, because obviously he's trying to figure out why she is the way she is, so he's going to go back to, I'm not going to do all these out, well, we're not going to do them all in order, he's going to go back to periods in her life to try and figure her out, so I won't tell you which period in her life.
Well, if a band has ever persuaded me to listen to the album, this is it. I think it's going to be one of the first things that we do when we go back, so listen, that's been awesome. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry I missed you last night. I really wish you'd have been there now.
Thanks so much for your
Thanks very much indeed.
Cheers, man.
Thank you. Thanks very much indeed.
Cool.